So you may remember Danny WD from previous builds on this channel, and it's the PC that I take with me. It's my small form factor. It has currently an RTX 2070. It's got, you can see the Noctua fan there. That's covering up a 5600G, which is a AMD AM4 platform. It's got 32 gig of memory, I believe it is, and it's been pretty good. But today we're going to do a few little upgrades. We're going to put an RX 6600 XT in here because we're taking the 2070 out. The only other one I've got, I've got two other GPUs I can use, but the one that's going to be better that will fit in here that I'm not already using is that 6600. And then we're going to take the 5600G out. We're going to put a 5600, I believe it's a 5600, it might be a 5600X. We're going to put that in there. And yeah, we're going to use that 5600G for a different computer. One of the first steps in taking that CPU out is going to be taking the back cover and the cooler that's on it, that Noctua cooler that we saw a moment ago. So, yeah, let's get started on that. And we're going to go ahead and slap in the 5600. And that has its own cooler. All right, so we have that Noctua cooler removed, but after some careful consideration, I think I'm just going to put the same cooler back on the 5600 when I put it in. We're going to take this 5600G out of here. We're going to put it in the new system, and then we'll put everything back together, get everything pasted, put everything back together, and run a few more tests and see how she does. All right, as I mentioned before, I stuck with the low-profile Noctua cooler that's on there. It does a great job, so I figured I would go ahead and keep it. We've also managed to put the RX 6600 XT in there. We're going to button everything up, get everything together, maybe dust it out just a tad bit, and then we'll put it together and we'll do some tests. I'll have to run DDU to take the old drivers for the 2070 off before I put the 6600 on, but then we'll be able to test it and see how she does. The Ryzen 5600, 6-core 12-thread is in there. We've got 32 gig of memory, running at 3600 speed. Filling up both those slots. And of course the GPU, Radeon RX 6600 XT. We're good to go. Finish downloading the drivers and then we'll start running some tests. So you may be wondering why I would go from the 5600G to just a regular 5600. Part of that is because the 5600G, although it does have video processing on it, it's not great. It is good. Don't get me wrong. It is good. But it also operates on PCIe 3. So my storage, and if I upgraded to a different video card, I still wouldn't be able to get quite the speeds that I would want to if I was looking to do something like, editing and rendering. That's the other part of this. The RTX 2070 does not have an AV1 encoder. And anybody that's been watching the last couple of videos on my channel has realized that I'm really think quite highly of that encoder, especially because I've been using the ARC GPUs to do that and encode all my recent YouTube videos like this one. That RX 6600 XT happens to have an AV1 encoder. Now, because I have found that out not too long ago and decided to make this change, my next step coming up here before too long will be to go ahead and test that against the ARC GPUs to see if it compares well with that A380 and that A750. And it sounds like it's not really a fair fight, but we do know the A380 and the A750, both of those ARC GPUs or both those ARC graphic cards really do a good job of encoding a video, especially a 10 to 12 to 15 minute video in AV1, about 2 minutes worth of time. So I'd be willing to test this, or be wanting to test this out. Danny D is my rig that I usually take on the road with me. Some of the limitations are when I try to stream, which is this isn't going to make that big of a difference. But when I do some editing away from home, now I have a rig that I firmly believe is just as capable. Not quite, but just, for being what it is on the road, I think it's just as capable as the one sitting over there behind me. Now, I don't by any means think that 5600 is going to keep up with the 12700, but I do think that because that RX 6600 XT does have an AV1 encoder, that it should do a pretty good job, especially for being my on-the-road rig, of being able to encode in AV1 so I can go ahead and post videos on YouTube. Now, it might not help with streaming, although it should be a very capable streaming rig, but The performance overall, as far as just the general PC itself, probably about 10 to 12%. And if I would have thought about it, I would have done a lot of benchmarks. I do have benchmarks, but if I would have thought about it, I would have made slides. I didn't know if that was not really relevant in this case, because that's not quite the purpose that I upgraded this for. I did upgrade it because I want something that's a little bit more capable for editing when I'm on the road. And now I think I've done that with a combination of something that I can put a faster drive in and have that AV1 encoding. So that will be one of those experiments I'll run. I'm also looking at doing, say, getting an RTX 3050, and I'm also looking at one other video card. It depends on how things work out. I've got a rather personal issue with my vehicle that needs to be taken care of first, and then I have to know what I have left over to be able to budget for more than one purchase at a time. But yeah, I think that RX 3050 will be coming up soon, because I do want to compare that with the ARC A380 and the RX 6400. I want to see how all three of those work together, especially in maybe an older rig. We know that 6400 does okay. We know the ARC A380 does not do very well at all. But yeah, I'm kind of curious of how the RTX 3050 might do. So yeah, that might be coming up on the agenda. Anyway, the main purpose of doing this entire upgrade was to get PCIe 4 out of this, and because the AV1 encoder. And that's going to make my life a lot easier when I decide I want to try to edit and save videos and all that stuff when I happen to be on the road. And hopefully, with a chance coming up where I might have several days off over the next several weeks, I might be able to make use of that. And actually, yeah, if I decide to go anywhere, I can take Dandy Double D with me and still be productive. Why I would want to be productive if I'm trying to take vacation, I don't know. But the option's there, right? So anyway, if you got anything out of the video, you just enjoyed it at all, or had any thoughts, or had any questions maybe, or had any, I know there's a lot of people out there that are carrying or using the RX 6000 series and RX 7000 series GPUs. Let me know if you've been using an AV1 encoder. Let me know how it goes or how it's gone, and if you like it, or you just didn't care because you wanted the NVIDIA card anyway. I'm just kind of curious, just really want to know. That 5600, that Ryzen 5, we already know the Ryzen 5s are really, really solid. This should be no different, but I'm really curious to know what people are thinking. We already know that RX 6600 XT is a really, really good card for the money. And now, yeah, I uncovered another use that might make it even more worth it. So like I said, if you got anything out of the video, curious, or thoughts or whatever, comments, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Don't forget to hit me up on the other socials. I'm streaming a lot more often on that Purple channel. I'm trying to bolster some other stuff going around, the Discord and all that stuff. But we'll find out more about that as I pick things on this channel a little bit more back more up. Yeah, I don't know. As we pick things up more on this channel going forward. In any case, if you don't do any of those things, just do me one favor, and that's be good to each other. Smile, wave, hold the door open, tell somebody good morning. Just those little things. You never know when what you do might make a huge difference in somebody's day. And while you're at it, do something nice for yourself. What does it hurt, Treat yourself a little bit. Anyway, that is all I have for right now. So until I get myself into something I got no business getting into, I'll see you later.